Vols are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back to Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Monday, November 29th. I don't know how we're feeling, ball fans. I know some people are a little PTSD popping up. Some people are nervous about a certain coach heading out west a little sooner. They'd like for him to leave, if you will. But hey, I'm feeling good. I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to let the things that haven't happened yet bother me. Tennessee I'm excited to talk about this season. I don't think it was extremely successful, but I think there were a lot of positives to take from it. And I thought Tennessee performed maybe better than they were supposed to. So as far as 2021 goes, I know you still have one game left in that bowl season, but all in all, pretty pleased with how this season went. Now, basketball, are we chalking that up to post-Thanksgiving feelings? Is that?
Yeah, probably. I just feel like with the basketball team, before we get into football, it's just I don't know how good that team's going to be. Like you saw against Tennessee Tech, they're kind of nonchalant at times, and then you have a game like you did against UNC where you just dominate, and you have the game like Villanova where you just got whooped from the opening tip. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about that, but it's a tough stretch going forward. So we'll find out soon enough.
Oh, definitely. It's hard to like really count that Tennessee Tech game any. Like you don't want to look too much into that. And it's still very early in the season. Tennessee does play tomorrow night. I know we normally come at you guys on Sunday, but they do play Presbyterian tomorrow night. And then I'll have to pull up the schedule without looking at it. Is it Tech next? Texas Tech?
After Presbyterian?
Or is it Colorado?
In Colorado.
Colorado. Okay. Colorado's next. So still plenty of basketball, obviously, for that team. We are gonna talk about the Vols against Vanderbilt on Saturday night. Went and took care of business. It's that simple, and we are going to discuss some of the maybe negatives, but positives and negatives of the football season this year, and just kind of round out the 2021 regular season. We did get a commit right before Landon said it. Normally, when we do this, it's like right after the show, the news hits. So we timed it right today. We will talk about some of those recruiting news, of course, college football recap, the coaching carousel. Did you think it was going to be this crazy? I know you had some big jobs open. Both Washingtons are open now. That's 2 Power 5 jobs. USC's been open for months. You obviously had Florida and LSU open up in the last couple of weeks. Did you think it was going to be this weird already?
No, I did. I guess Lincoln Riley kind of threw everything into a loop. Like Billy Napier was probably going to go to LSU or Florida. And then I just wouldn't have guessed Lincoln Riley was going to bolt to USC like he did.
Yeah, I thought that was a very weird move. And I know we'll discuss all that, but it's been crazier and it's only going to get crazier.
It's nice to just sit here and watch it unfold and not have to worry about it.
Don't say that. Now you're making me think we're going to have to worry about it. I really don't believe that, but we'll see. Obviously, anything can happen. We know that, but it is, like you said, it is fun. It's fun to talk about coaching searches regardless. It's much more fun when you're not a part of it.
Yeah, and you don't have to – you see Oklahoma, and we kind of went through this last year where they lose all the commits. People start transferring. They've lost pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
To Jaden Hazelwood, to Spencer Radler, to Theo Weiss, their 5-star quarterback commit. I can't remember his name, but I guess all those guys are probably favored to go to USC, but still.
It's I mean, it's why you don't want to lose your head coach. I mean, it's that. So the stability of just, especially like, I mean, what, last week? No, Wednesday he was asked about the LSU job, right?
Yeah, and he said, "I will not be the next head coach at LSU."
Also, he did say in that press conference, he said, "I'm the coach at Oklahoma." He said that, which is also a fact. He was the coach at Oklahoma when he said that. Then he said, "I won't coach at LSU." But people are like, I mean, he didn't lie.
Yeah, he's just spitting straight facts.
I guess he's not the coach at LSU. Also, I'll say it, coward. He's a coward. He's not going to win big at USC.
No, not anytime soon, anyway.
No, I did find it funny. I'm sorry. I better throw this in there before I forget. You had that Jim Harbaugh quote, Jim Harbaugh quote, I guess, about Ryan Day. Some people are born on third base and think they hit a triple. That had to be about Ryan Day, right?
Ugh.
Did that not ring true about Lincoln Riley, though? It's like you kind of got into the same situation. And I'm not saying he's not a good coach, but he's not.
I'll say this. You can't be a top 5 head coach in college football and then go to the Pac-12. I mean, that's candy ass, right?
I mean, I feel like, I don't know, maybe Oregon might be different. USC 10 years ago would have been different. 15 years ago, probably before the allegation. So not when Lane Kiffin left. It's just, it looks. I'm not saying he is, because I mean, there's no way you could ever prove it. It looks like he's dodging the SEC though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's smart to do." And I'm like, if you don't want to be competitive, then you're not going to be competitive wherever you go. You don't.
Yeah, just because you make it to the college football playoff doesn't mean that you're close to winning a national championship.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's to that point. Oklahoma may not see a college football playoff again for a long time.
Oh yeah, and I think he literally. I mean, yeah, USC, you might have more, in-state recruits that want to come there, but I think it's about the same job-wise as Oklahoma.
Well, he's not proving he can build anything.
No,
that's the thing. He's not proving he can build it. So let's talk about Tennessee Vanderbilt. That's why we're here. That's why we're really here. We'll laugh at Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley soon enough. Tennessee plays them in 2 years, 2024.
I mean, we'll probably play. I don't know what that game's going to look like. I guess we'll play it, but at that point, is it going to be a conference game?
It may be like was it NC State and North Carolina?
North Carolina and Wake Forest.
Wake Forest that played it as a non-conference.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the thing I've ever seen.
Got to keep those traditions alive.
Yeah.
So maybe like that, but we'll see where they're. I mean, I'm not confident Oklahoma will just plummet. They haven't had all of the issues that have to happen yet for it to plummet. There can still be some stability there. But Tennessee and Vanderbilt Saturday afternoon, almost said night. It wasn't quite night. Tennessee, I mean, we talked about it. It's like you don't have to go in there and do anything crazy. You just got to go take care of business. For a while, thought maybe Tennessee had an opportunity to shut them out. It did take Vanderbilt a while to score, but and Tennessee almost went 21 points without the offense stepping on the field. They were very close to doing that.
It was very close to be 14.
14.
Bayless Jones took that punt almost to the house. But, yeah, I mean, it wasn't Tennessee's best game by any means. They took care of business. They beat a in-state rival by 24 points. There's not a lot that you can just be mad about. I mean, the one thing that I was really mad about was the Hail Mary. I just think that was a dumb play to just give up. I mean, they don't surpass 300 total yards if that play doesn't happen.
Right. And but to your credit, it's like that. I know it was a big play, but it kind of feels nitpicky. Like you said, you beat them by 24 points. You went in and did what you need to do to take care of business. It's hard to really say this team. I mean, you didn't throw the ball a ton. You had 2 guys over 100 yards rushing. You had Cedric Tillman landing. He's almost there, 106 yards receiving. So
69 more yards.
Nice. Let's keep him there. I don't want to hurt your feelings. You had a defensive touchdown. So I mean, it's all in all, it's like in Nashville. You always have a way. All in all, though, you beat them how you're supposed to. Well, close to how you're supposed to. What, 6 points off?
Yeah, I mean, 31 was a large number anyway, especially like this is Vanderbilt's Super Bowl. Like they always play Tennessee tough. So, I mean, if you touch that spread, that's on you. I wasn't going to touch it. I'm bleeding for some reason. That's weird.
No bleed?
No, just like my fingers just cut. I guess if we're nitpicking some more, I mean, you're good on third down, which Tennessee hasn't been pretty much the whole season. They faced a running quarterback. They're good against that. Bad on fourth down, giving up 5 conversions out of 7.
Yeah.
And then the offense just started slow, which is very unlike them this season. I don't know if just the pick 6 already being up 7 points was just weird to them. But, yeah, it was just not like this team to not start off fast. I mean, Velus Jones puts them in good position. You think you're going to go up 14-0 pretty quick and then kind of stall out, run the ball right up the middle on fourth down and get stuffed. And Tennessee averages 6.8 yards per carry in this game. I mean, they should have got that first down easily.
Yeah, I think the offense definitely came out, did not look fantastic, but they picked it up. And like you said, you end up averaging close to 7 yards per carry. So, yeah, you would have liked to start off a little bit faster, but your defense did its job to at least allow you time to get going, which is probably wouldn't have been the case through some other games this year. So that's nice to kind of see the other unit picking you up when you weren't quite there.
Yeah, Tennessee kind of dominated the line of scrimmage too. You mentioned the rushing yards. Had 2 guys over 100 yards, Jalen Wright, Jabari Small. Hendon Hooker had 75 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, averaging 6.8 yards per carry. And, that's something Tennessee, even with Cade Mays out, even with Javonte Spraggins was out due to illness. So, I mean, you were missing some guys and you were kind of throwing in Ollie Lane, Jackson Lampley, Dane Davis, Jeremiah Crawford was in there some as well. I think he's actually one guy I'm about to talk about and guys who impressed me. I thought he looked pretty good. But yeah, with kind of down 2 starters, I think Tennessee dominated the line of scrimmage better than they have against an SEC opponent. I know it's Vanderbilt, but best game they've looked with, not being 100% at the offensive line.
Yeah, and like I like that you said it is Vanderbilt, but same way you take your cupcake wins, you take your wins over SEC. Your wins, no matter what fashion they come in, over SEC opponents, and if they come in a fashion where you dominate at the line of scrimmage, you take that too.
Yeah,
hang your hat on it. So,
I do think to Vanderbilt's credit, I think they have gotten better these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
That wasn't the same team that lost to ETSU 23-3.
Oh God, no. I mean I think ETSU had.
Bless you.
I think they had 2 defensive touchdowns in that game, or maybe a defensive and a special teams touchdown in that game.
Yeah, I think they got one that was called back too. So I mean, it could have been even worse.
So that offense is. I know they had 1 defensive touchdown, but I think Tennessee's defense is a little bit better than ETSU's, and Theo Jackson also just made a really good play on it. But no, I agree. I think, and we said that last week. We don't think this is the same team that's played. Lost to Georgia 64. Is that right? It was a lot.
I don't know what that score was.
But that was 3rd week of the season, 4th week of the season. Lost to 62-0. Barely beat Colorado State. Got smashed by Stanford. Like it's not the same team. And so it is nice to kind of it's nice to just finish out your season taking care of business. It's in a game that went to overtime. Sure, you maybe would have liked for it to be, like you said, maybe a faster start, and you just kind of look good from start to finish. And that wasn't really the case, but all in all, you took care of business, and you get to go to a bowl game, and you did. I think you won in such a way that you weren't going to elevate yourself in this bowl game, but I think you definitely could have moved yourself down if this was a close game, and you didn't do that.
For sure. I mean, it looks like the consensus is the Duke's Mayo Bowl or the Music City Bowl. Maybe you have a Gator Bowl in there, depending on kind of what happens with Georgia and Alabama, because if both those teams are in the playoffs, every SEC team kind of moves up. But the way it looks right now, it's probably Duke's Mayo Bowl or Music City Bowl. So Charlotte or Nashville. Not too far away.
I'll go to either. I'll be at either. Hopefully. I can't I guess I can't promise that, but I'd like to be.
Let's do it.
Is either of them like a New Year's Eve bowl or anything? Do you know dates of them? I don't think the Music City is. I think Music City is like the 28th or something like that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people with Santa hats. I remember the last one we were at.
Which is still unacceptable. 3 days after Christmas, that's absurd.
I'll see when those dates are.
I like how everyone moves so quickly on from Thanksgiving. It's already Christmas everywhere. It's amazing.
So December 30th is the Music City Bowl.
Okay. All right. Getting there. Well, that'd be fun. Either way would be fun. I'd like to go to it. Jacksonville would be difficult. We won't be in Tampa. Tampa would be easy because of flights. But yeah, I'd like to go either way. Let's talk about
Mayo Bowl is also December 30th.
Oh, both of them are the 30th. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Well, let's talk about some of the guys that impressed. I know we threw some names out there as we discussed just kind of that game, but some individuals that kind of stood out to you in this one, and whether they've stood out all year or not.
Yeah, the first guy is Cedric Tillman. Again, 69 yards away from 1,000. Let's get him there. I mean, he just looked like he's a monster.
He might be
making guys miss. I mean, all we heard about from this kid is like, oh, he's not fast enough. He looks pretty fast enough to me to make people miss in the open field. So,
yeah, I think unfortunately for him, and I think this could be kind of Tennessee's like hope that he may stay, is he doesn't have that just wow you speed. Like if he went to the combine, he's not gonna test real high at the 40 or real low, depending on how you look at it. So like that could play in Tennessee's favor in terms of whether he decides to stay or leave. But he's definitely got it. I mean, it's kind of like Juwan Jennings. Like, yeah, he's not the fastest guy, but he's plenty fast on the football field.
Yeah, and he's got to be all SEC. I don't care how many receptions the Mississippi State wide receivers have. He's doing a lot more with a lot less. Yeah. And I think his average – he has 9 touchdowns, I think, on the year. He had I think it's 9. It might be more than that.
I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns. He had 8 receptions coming into this season in his Tennessee career.
Oh, yeah. So, and he should be to 1,000 yards by the time they vote for that. So,
yep.
Is that SEC after the season, or is it before bowl games?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I want to say it's
before. Now that I get to thinking about it, I just can't ever.
I thought it was like after the bowl games, but before the national championship.
Okay, that may be it.
Yeah, he should be up there. I mean, Jamison Williams is probably going to be up there. John Mechie, Wandale Robinson, but he should make an all-SEC team for sure.
3, for God's sakes.
Right.
John Fulkerson, who somehow gets left off.
I think he's 6th in yards and maybe like 3rd in touchdowns. But one of the guys that's beat him in yards is from Mississippi State. He has 97 receptions. He's got 40 more than Cedric Tillman and like 40 more yards.
How is it possible to have 97 receptions?
I don't know. It's stupid.
Good Lord. I want him on my PPR team.
I mean, at that rate, your guys aren't blocking downfield for you. And that's something Tennessee does really well. Velus Jones and Cedric Tillman, Javonte Payton, I think they talked about that in their press conference earlier this week, is like or I think Cedric Tillman said it after the game. He's just like, if one of us gets the ball, we're wanting the other one to score. So we're doing the best we can to block. And they did a fantastic job. I mean, Velus Jones took out 2 defenders on Cedric Tillman's long touchdown when he broke a couple tackles.
Yeah. Cedric Tillman's 6th in receiving yards in the SEC, and he is tied for 3rd for receiving touchdowns.
So do you see the Mississippi State player ahead of him? Is that what you're looking at?
Mekhi Polk.
Yeah. How many
Is that what you're
receptions
talking about?
does he have?
98.
Yeah, dude.
John Mechie has not. John Mechie has 90. I would not have guessed it. And Jameson, how many plays have they run this season? Jameson Williams has 61. John Mechie has 90. That's insane.
Well, Jameson Williams got thrown out of the Iron Bowl, and so John Mechie got all the targets in that game.
Brian Robinson Jr. has also been hurt the past couple weeks, so maybe that played into. Maybe that played into it. Also, I'm glad you mentioned the Iron Bowl. I told you this felt like the Auburn team. They should have done it too. Should have won. It's stupid. I told you this felt like the Auburn team.
Does that give Bryce Young the Heisman?
It might. No, just because who else? Who else?
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. It's like, yeah, maybe he loses it this week, but who's going to take it over?
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud had his moment, and kind of lost that when they played Michigan. So I don't think anybody else like pushing for it.
No, I think it's unfortunate. Probably you still have the SEC championship game to play. So I guess depending on that, but it could depend on that, I should say. But no, this is insane. I did. Wendell Robinson has 94, and that amount of receptions is insane.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Also, I'll go another guy. Jalen Wright really impressed me. He seems like the game's kind of slowing down for him a little bit. 15 carries, 112 yards, a touchdown, average 7.5 yards per carry. He just looks like I know his pass blocking needs to get a lot better, but he just seems more in tune with the offense to me.
Well, I thought both the running backs played well. So I'll piggyback your Jalen Wright and say Jabari Small too. You get the news that Tyon Evans is transferring out, and so now it's going to all be on Jabari Small, who's been banged up this year too. Not quite to the same effect that Tyon Evans has been. So it's going to be what's been asked of him the last 4 or 5 weeks is going to be asked of him again against Vanderbilt. Throw in Jalen Wright with that, and I thought they answered that. I thought they ran really, really hard. That was what was fun about Saturday night. I just thought they ran downhill really, really hard. And I thought they both did a really good job. And it's part of the reason they got to over 100 yards apiece.
Yeah, I like that. And Jalen Wright, for as, being kind of the third guy the majority of the year, I know he's kind of moved up a little bit with injuries and stuff like that, but more yards and more touchdowns than Eric Gray this season.
That is insane. Which Eric Gray is, I don't think he can't be, before even Lincoln Riley left, he couldn't have been happy with the situation he got into.
No, nope.
Couldn't
hate it for him, really do.
Right. Hey, open arms, prodigal son. I don't know about you, but
You'd welcome.
If our fans are talking about Spencer Rattler, they would take Spencer Rattler. You got to take care of Gray. Come on.
Yeah, hell no. I'm not taking Spencer Rattler.
Listen,
I'll take Anthony Richardson. I'm not taking Spencer Rattler.
I'll say no to Spencer Rattler right now. If he comes here and balls out, I'll eat my words, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but
he's a cancer, and I don't think this team is good enough to have a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah. Well, you watch the QB1 stuff QB1, and you go, man, it's a reality show. They do that stuff to, he said some bad stuff on camera and they were able to spin it, and then he gets to Oklahoma and you're like, oh, well, maybe they were kind of telling the true story.
Yeah. Yeah, not a huge fan of the guy.
No. But sticking with Tennessee and guys who impressed, I'm going to go another one, and I want to go back and I haven't gone back and watched the game yet. But what you just heard his name a lot Saturday night, and you need more from him, is Aaron Beasley. Thought he was all over the field. He kind of felt like he was finally starting to kind of play sideline to sideline and really be more involved. So it's kind of if you're a linebacker and you find yourself in the mix a lot, you're probably doing at least some of the right things. And I thought he just found himself in the mix a lot. So I'd like to go back and watch and see how effective he truly was. But you heard his name a lot Saturday night, and that's a big start from where he's kind of been this year.
Yeah, I'm going to go another guy kind of similar to that, all over the field, sideline to sideline, and that was Jeremy Banks. Led the team in tackles. I know Vanderbilt probably doesn't get to 21 if, he doesn't have the personal foul, which I think was kind of a bullcrap call anyway. But it just seems like Tim Banks has done a nice job of keeping him in the box and not really relying on him to cover up a receiver or a tight end because he kind of all their linebackers have gotten picked on in coverage this season. But Jeremy Banks, he's just an old school linebacker that can play sideline to sideline, and when he hits you, it's gonna feel like something.
Right.
So Jeremy Banks is he had a really good year this year. He had more tackles, more sacks, more interceptions than Henry To'oTo'o. So I'm gonna go with Jeremy Banks as one of the guys who impressed me last night or Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm thinking we just need to get him like a bark collar. So anytime he starts running his mouth, it just shocks him.
That's true. Yeah.
Because I feel like most of his penalties come from his mouth.
Yeah. It's just the late stuff. It's like, dude, you got to pump the brakes.
Dude, he's always. I mean, even if he's not hitting somebody after the play, there was one time after playing the Georgia game that he put his hand on a Georgia offensive lineman just to keep his head on the ground. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, the only thing that can come out of that is a 15-yard penalty. Like, that's the only thing. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I love the passion, but maybe keep it in between the whistles.
You can't. How many? He's had to lead the league in personal fouls this year. Had to.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
We're talking about plus minus in basketball. Like, let's look at plus minus yards for a linebacker. Like, you're giving up a lot more than you're stopping there, brother. So
right, and Tennessee, again, doesn't have the depth or talent to be giving up 15-yard penalties every game.
Right. Not at all. Not at all. One that keeps impressing. I've got two more. Defensive side of the ball. Byron Young is, man. The more you look at it, the more you think about it. You talk about wanting to start hitting Hooker the first two games. Man, if you could have Byron Young the first two games, which I know it wasn't Tennessee's fault in that sense, but man, that pick. I mean, you talk about a game being different with a player in there. Kenny Pickett doesn't have all the time in the world. You have Byron Young chasing him down.
No, I think that's a totally different game. Yeah, he's relentless. Theo Jackson's my next guy.
My last one. You got it.
Oh, sorry.
No, you got it.
Just put an exclamation point on his, fantastic last year at Tennessee with a pick six. Had a lot of PBUs in this game. How many did he have? It says only one. I think he had more than that. Had a couple quarterback hurries, 4 tackles. I mean, he just looked like Tennessee's best defender.
Right.
And he has been Tennessee's best defender all year long.
No, I think he's been very impressive for the entire season. Obviously, pick 6 to start the Vanderbilt game. That was huge too. So I'm very pleased with his play. And
I think he's the biggest, maybe besides Valus, I think he's the biggest loss.
I think he is because I don't think he's right now. He's not shown that he can be replaced.
Right,
Valus.
Okay.
So I would say.
Yeah, I mean Valus just gives you so much in the return game too.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of put him up there as well. But yeah, those two guys are probably going to be missed the most next season.
No, I agree. And then probably behind that too, just going into guys that are going to be tough to replace. Cade Mays too. I know he's kind of been banged up, but
it's a lot different offensive line when Cade Mays isn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else for a Vanderbilt game, guys, to impress before we kind of recap the whole season? I know we've discussed the season, but kind of really dive into it
here. Jeremiah Crawford. I thought he played well. I think he was Tennessee's highest graded player in the Vanderbilt game. So, like what I saw from him, Tennessee, mentioned guys that has to replace Cade Mays. He's one of those guys that could step into that role, and I thought he played well, given the circumstances against Vanderbilt.
Yeah. I'm looking at the receiving stats for the year. Tylen Evans, Jabari Small, Jalen Wright. Guess how many receptions they combined for?
How much?
18. Seems low. Am I wrong?
Yeah, that doesn't seem. I've kind of noticed that over the course of the season that we just don't. And maybe it's just because our receivers have been so great this season. But yeah, we haven't really utilized them very much in the pass game.
How much? I mean, even if they're good, how much does it open up the field if you can 7 seconds. I mean, surely you can get it to the running back every once in a while.
Yeah, not a lot of screens or
They're
anything like
crazy.
that. Maybe they think, hey, if one of those 3 receivers aren't open, tuck that thing.
I guess you do have Hendon Hooker. That does
Yeah.
maybe change the landscape a little bit. So, essentially, but yeah, I don't know. I mentioned it before the show started. I wouldn't call it just a success. I mean, you lost your both three teams you're trying to catch up to, and you did. I think the Alabama game was closer than the story told. But other than, you got blown out in all of them. You lost by more than 2 possessions in each of them, and so it's tough to say that you're there. So I'm not going to call this season a success because that's the things you're chasing down. Whether you beat them or not, you at least want to be in those games. But as far as looking at where this team was at when Jerry Pruitt gets out, and Josh Heupel gets fired, and where this roster's at and program's at, you did go out, you did get to a bowl game, you're 3 cupcake games, but that's just college football schedule. Like, that's an average college football schedule. So if anyone wants to complain about that, that's just incredibly stupid. So you get your 3 cupcake
We
games,
also
you
have
take your
like
business
the
there.
toughest strength of schedule.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were at one point, like the remaining,
Yeah.
or like at that point in the season, I think it was Georgia and before, like we had the toughest strength of schedule.
Gotcha. Well, and it makes sense. I said 3. I said 3 is your average college football schedule. Really, 4 cupcake games is your average college football schedule. You had a Power 5 non-conference in Pitt this year, who's going to more than likely be your ACC champion, depending on pending this week. So yeah, you would like to pick up that win against Pitt. You did only lose that one by a touchdown. I think that's the biggest question this season is the Pitt game, the Bowling Green Pitt game. First 2. Why, when you're grading a coaching staff, how is and Hendon Hooker looks like the clear starter from everything we've seen. So if we're gonna question this coaching staff in any capacity, I think that's it.
Yeah, Joe Milton has, even with Hendon Hooker being the starter, he's had plenty of opportunities to come in there and showcase what he can do. And time after time, he just shoots himself in the foot. You look at, was it Ole Miss where he just runs out of bounds?
Yeah.
And then, against Vanderbilt, he fumbles. It's just like, how was he the starter all of camp? And, I know we talked to Eric Kane about that a little bit. And
yeah, I understand it to an extent. I do.
Yeah, he saw it too. But, man, you got to find out who your gamers are quick.
Right. I guess you kind of did. But, it seemed pretty obvious against Bowling Green that it wasn't going to be your guy to go ahead and move on. And he still gets to start against Pitt. And maybe you chalk it up to some first game nerves and other stuff. But it seemed fairly obvious. Maybe not. But and then I guess, okay, so that's my first one. I actually have 2. My next one, and this is for the defensive side of the ball. Still applause to Coach Heupel, is Tennessee has to find a way to get off the field. You'd like to think it's about talent and hopefully when you get the guys in here, but the fact of the matter is you're not going to get a full roster until year 3. So you've got to figure it out next year. You got to figure out for the bowl game how your defense gets off the field, especially when you get teams in 3rd and 4th down. You don't kill yourself.
Yeah, because if it's in their favor that they're going to get it in 4 downs, they're going to go for 4 on 4th down every single time.
Yeah.
That Ole Miss showed you that. Even Vanderbilt was 5 of 7 on 4th down. Yeah, they're 3 of 17 on 3rd down. But hey, if they can get it in 4th down, they're going to go for it.
Right. Don't blame them.
Yeah. That is it's a head scratcher. But Tennessee's defense shouldn't be. We heard it all offseason. This defense is going to be shit. And I think they were far from that.
Yeah, I thought the most. Especially first part of the season, I was very impressed with Tim Banks and what he had done with that unit. But I still think they've got a ton to get figured out if they want to allow the offense to be competitive. And I think the offense has to find a way to balance that and stay on the field. And You're going to get off the field quick, but it can't be 3 and out quick because now you're talking about your defense only gets to rest for the way you run plays 30 seconds. So definitely going to have to find some ways to sustain a little bit of drives, whether that just means being on the field for 7 plays, being on the field for 2 minutes. Like that's better than a 3 and out and being done. So I think the offense can help counterbalance that. Now, I mean, all in all, I think Josh Heupel did a great. I said I thought you should be in a bowl game this year, and then I thought if you wanted to show that you could get teams going, you could coach them up, you needed to beat Missouri, Kentucky. Really, I just said one of the two to kind of establish that. I thought Missouri would be a little bit better that time when Tennessee saw them. Another team that probably got better towards the end of the year, though. And I think the Florida one, looking back, it's easy to say, Tennessee should have been more competitive against Florida. Tennessee should have beat Florida, however you want to say it. But that's not the same Florida team that fired Dan Mullen in Week 11. Like, it's just not. It's not even close.
I mean,
we're talking about
go
ahead.
I mean, they lost Alabama on
right.
It could have been tied up going to overtime, and they'd missed a 2-point conversion.
So that's hard. A little bit of revisionist history there. And we know the Pitt games, especially now. Talking about Pitt's a pretty good football team. What are they currently ranked right now?
Top 15.
Are they 12th? I guess we don't know their official ranking until tomorrow night. But 17th. I thought they were higher than that. 17th, they're going to be playing Wake Forest for the ACC championship. But you talk about you being in that game, and then we talk about we just said it, 2 players potentially away from beating that team. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and say Jeremy Pruitt couldn't have had a similar season. But I mean, I think you could almost say for certain you get spanked by all this. Spanked. Because you're not scoring. That offense showed no signs of life last year. You can't convince me Hendon Hooker was going to completely flip that offense on its head.
Yeah.
You'd probably get beat by Kentucky this year because their offense found some life. Again, you weren't going to score 45 points on them. Were you going to hold them to less? I mean, maybe, but their offense was far better than yours. So you can't convince me that's a flat out win for Jeremy Pruitt. You can't do it. But I mean, it's just I think this team has significantly gotten better. It is more exciting too. If you just want to talk about brands of football, it's more exciting for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're scoring points. You're not winning games 17-10 or 13-6. Nothing like that. It's a whole lot better. It's a whole lot more enjoyable to sit there in the stands and watch it for 3 or 4 hours.
And a lot of people, who cares if you're, which I've said this, who cares if you're losing, even if it's, high scoring game. Agree with that. But, getting beat by Pitt 31-7 isn't fun either. So I'd rather lose 31-27 if we want to say that.
Right.
So yeah, whatever. I am convinced this program is at a better spot to move forward than they were at the end of 2020. That's a hot take, I know. No, sorry, 2019. No, at the end of 2019, 2020, sorry. Okay. When you're on that 6-game winning streak and it felt like, all right, you're going to catapult yourself to more. But it's not like your 2019 or 2020 class was spectacular. You had a lot of momentum in the 2021 class, but that was really it. Those guys were just committed; they weren't signed. And then you go out. I know you play an all SEC schedule, but you go out, you do get a big win over Missouri. Then when you get twaxed by Kentucky, you just throw everything you just did out the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at home.
At home.
Yeah, I think for me this year, I think Josh Heupel definitely exceeded my expectations. I was thinking 6-6, and that was probably just me being a homer. I was hoping for a 6-6 season. I think me and you said it. We'll be perfectly happy with 6-6, and then you're looking now 7-5, and you could have easily been 9-3.
I get real sick thinking about if you're going to make me say anything bad about Josh Heupel, start Hendon Hooker, you get to.
Yeah, you get to 8. I mean, it sucks. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. But I mean, like, I'm sure they're kicking themselves about those 2 games.
And at least they made the changes. If we're going to compare them to the previous stats, at least they did make the changes.
They did. Yeah, they didn't try to just stick it out and say that he gives us the best option to win. They're open to change that. And, I think Josh Heupel, he has the most wins of a first-year Power 5 head football coach this season. So,
which is pretty crazy.
Right. When you look at what he came into, again, going back to it's been a lot more exciting this season than any year under Jeremy Pruitt. I don't care if we won. What do we win 9 games with him that 2019 season?
2019, won 8, right? 7, 8.
Oh, you just won 8.
We went 6-6. We won 6-6. Went 7-6, I think. Yeah, we had to go. We had to win out. I'll look at it. I'm pretty sure we had to win out to go
to the Gator Bowl. That's crazy.
Maybe it was 7, and maybe we did finish 7-5.
Okay.
And then,
so I mean, we're sitting here with Jeremy Pruitt kind of ruined this. Didn't have got trampled in the transfer portal. Not a lot of recruits coming in here. I'm sure guys that were transferring, probably didn't even look Tennessee's way with what their, record was and what kind of trouble they're in.
Or 8-5, sorry.
Gotcha. And here, Josh Heupel is, didn't really Jeremy Pruitt spent a lot of time trying to recruit and being like, hey, we need more talent. But Josh Heupel and this staff just stuck with what they had and got the most out of it. And, that's why we're sitting here, and he could match Jeremy Pruitt's best year in year 1.
I mean, this year, which, he only had 3 years. But this team's just as talented, that's the way you want to phrase it, as the 2018 that went into Nashville and got whooped by Vanderbilt. So,
yeah,
it's not too far off there.
Yeah,
talking about getting talent in here and trying to turn this thing around, and I think that's another thing. Listening to people complain about the talent that's currently on campus, talking about the guys that want to, the guys that left, when Pruitt left and things like that. Josh, and they want to say, well, Josh Heupel couldn't even keep them on campus, and that can't be an indictment on him. He didn't have relationships with these guys. He came in here, and he tried to keep guys like Henry Toto and Eric Gray if he could. We don't know all the details about that. I still have a theory that some of them may have been told to, depending on the situation, if what we're hearing is true, that to try to avoid some punishments, to say, it's best at the university and you all part ways. So even if he could have helped it, you can't tell me he didn't try, but he didn't have relationships with them. And then, all these Tennessee maybe getting a bowl ban, maybe losing scholarships. I mean, I'm not entirely blaming them for looking elsewhere. I'm not entirely blaming them. Now, I respect the guys that toughed it out a hell of a lot more. I'll say that. And but here's the thing: if you're gonna put Henry Toto, Eric Gray, Wanya Morris, Eric Koch, all those guys, if you're gonna put them on Josh Heupel, well, then you have to go to the flip side of that. And you have to put the Bayless Jones Jr.'s, the guys that decided to stay. The Javonte Paytons, the guys who decided to transfer in. The Byron Young was committed before, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Guys that decided to stay. Even, I don't care if they're hometown guys. Jabari Small, the guys that didn't transfer. Cedric Tillman. Like you have to put that on him too and say, well, look what they did with them versus the other staff. So you can't pick and choose what you're going to say. The staff did bad, but and not credit where the staff did good. So if you want to look at those guys that left and say, oh, they could have kept them around, even though I don't believe that to be entirely true, you have to look at the guys that stayed and improved drastically if you're going to look and grade the staff fairly. So,
yeah, the guys that transferred, who had a better year than their replacement on this team?
I mean, the only guy, and this probably isn't a good, and it's probably Henry To'oTo'o, but that's probably just because of where he's at.
Right. Well, and Jeremy Banks had a better year than he had.
Oh,
When you look
think?
at
Oh,
stats,
well, I guess when you look at the amount of tackles, that's probably true. Yeah, that is probably true.
and maybe Quavaris Crouch. I don't know his exact stats. I know he had a pretty good year at Michigan State. But Wanye Morris wasn't much of a factor. Eric Gray wasn't much of a factor. Jameer Johnson wasn't much of a factor. I mean, we could have really used some of those guys, and they went elsewhere. But again, Josh Heupel and this staff didn't like, oh, poor pitiful us. If we would have had some more talent, we would have been better. No, I mean there was complete buy-in from a lot of these seniors, and it kind of trickled down, and that's why you had a good season. You had a good group. Matthew Butler, Lante Taylor, some of those guys, Bayless Jones, and they bought in quick, and it trickled down, and that's why you had a successful season.
Yeah, agreed. And that I mean, whatever the staff's selling, the guys on campus are buying it. Obviously, unfortunately, the recruits aren't buying it yet, but that'll happen. I'm trying to remember. I guess it was McGrath was talking. I guess he roomed with Bayless Jones at USC. And he was like, no, like as soon as I talked to Bayless, he was like, Knoxville's awesome. It's where, I love to be, like you need to be. So like the guys in college football are talking now. So you are going to get some from that. We actually got a question here from Trey Fox about Jameer Gibbs. Looks like he's not going to come to Tennessee, but also like I'm not willing to say the door's shut on that because first off, he just announced he was transferring. And he can look back and say, I should have gone here when I was first recruited, but that situation may not be. Definitely the situation is not the same in like at Florida, for example, than when he first got recruited.
Yeah, I mean, there has been ties to Florida there. Napier's dad was a coach at his high school at Dalton. But I don't like the contact. Like you said, he just entered the transfer portal. He's got to hear out his options. Unless he just already knows where he's going, he can announce that tomorrow and be done. But if you're wanting to kind of open this thing back up a little bit, you should hear out your options. And if you just look at Tennessee's, right. I mean, Tyon Evans could have rushed for 1,500 yards this season if he's healthy. In this offense, where you're able to spread the ball out, you have a running quarterback, so they got to watch that too on every single read. So you have a lot of room to make people miss and have some home runs in this offense. So if I'm Jameer Gibbs, I'm looking at a guy like Bayless Jones who, had some time as a kick returner, punt returner, had a fantastic season. I look at a guy like Tyon Evans that it was his first year on campus, and what could have been if he's healthy and dealing with some off the field stuff. Jabari Small had a fantastic year. I mean, there's a lot to like about this offense, and I think especially at running back. So if I'm Jameer Gibbs, I'm seeing all my options.
Speaking of that, and recruitment, in my opinion, is never closed nowadays. Zach Evans also at the transfer portal.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiar faces. Ladarius Cox, Brendan Harris at Vanderbilt. Both those guys were committed to Tennessee. What was the guy at Maryland? Gosh, I can't even remember his name anymore. It was he's from Florida. He went to like 3 different high schools, and then
which will always blow my mind.
All right.
By the way, if you've been to that, will never make sense to me. I guess it does make more sense in Florida where they have all these prep schools now. What position do you play? Is it Terrence Lewis? That's it.
Terrence Lewis. Yes, thank you.
He's committed to Tennessee.
Yeah, he's also in the transfer portal. So a lot of familiar faces in that portal. Spencer Rattler, Jaden Hazelwood's another guy who entered the transfer portal. So we'll see what Tennessee does. I think, they're in a lot better position this year to take some transfers. You have it's not a finished product, but you have a prototype, if you will, of what your program is going to look like. So I think it's definitely easier to sell this year than it was last season.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. And you may have some guys that weren't ready to transfer last year when their coaches left to come to Tennessee that they may be looking for other homes now. I don't know who that fits. I don't know if make sure that's right off the top of my head. Be interested to see them because maybe how you get some guys potentially.
Yeah. Also, if Jeremy Pruitt really told Jameer Gibbs he was going to play cornerback, he should never be able to coach a football team ever again.
Well, he's a defensive guy. He's a defensive coordinator. Of course, he's going to sit in the room and go, "I want the best player on the field."
Yeah.
Play for a defensive guy. I can play for this guy.
No, what he wanted was I don't even know what he wanted. He's just so dumb.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. He wanted his defense to have all the talent. Did you see our offense?
Well, he couldn't recruit a guy that was actually a defensive back, so he had to go and get quarterbacks and
Did he ever
receivers and
sign
turn them into defensive backs.
Right. Did he ever sign an actual defensive back his entire time in Tennessee?
Jalen McCullough,
Maybe. That's it.
Warren Burrell. That's about it. I mean, Trayvon Flowers was a dang baseball player. Alontae Taylor was a quarterback. Bryce Thompson was, an offensive player, kind of played a little bit of everything. So, yeah, I mean, I guess those two guys are the only two I can really think of.
Love to see it.
He's terrible. He's so bad.
Let's talk some recruiting. Commitment today.
Yeah, you lock down a 3-star cornerback in Christian Harrison out of Atlanta, Georgia. His dad is former NFL vet, New England Patriot, and San Diego Chargers Rodney Harrison. He was a defensive back with them. And, kind of under the radar guy, but his recruitment's really picked up over the past couple months. Has some offers from a lot of Power Fives. He was committed to Liberty at one point. Kansas State, Florida's in there. He actually picked Tennessee over Florida and Nebraska, where was his final 3. Maryland, Missouri, Utah, Virginia, Virginia Tech, West Virginia. So a lot of Power 5 offers for a kid that, isn't rated really high, but has a chance to really outplay his ranking. When you look at the offers that have come in pretty recently.
Right. That's, of course, you're going to look at the ranking. It's all you can really base on guys right now. But he is a bigger kid. Probably has a little bit of weight to put on. 6 foot, or 183. 283 would be a humongous defensive back. But,
oh my God.
that would be losing some weight, not putting on. But it has a little bit of weight to put on. But, of course, you look at that, like you said, under the radar is the best way to describe him now. Come in, like you said, come in, outplay your ranking. Put yourself, you've gotten yourself to a big Power 5 school, whether it would have been Florida, Tennessee, or Nebraska. Now go and outplay your ranking. He could. I think for any receiver did that after you lost to Vanderbilt 2018. If you want to go in the field, you need to come here. That still stands true, even though Tennessee didn't lose to Vanderbilt this year. So, you could potentially find yourself on the field, regardless of the team right now. And then also, give me any athlete out of Georgia, and I'm pretty excited. So,
yeah, especially the Atlanta area. Ton of athletes in that area. But Tennessee moves up to number 24th in recruiting rankings per 247 Sports. And that's Tennessee's 5th defensive commit. So definitely want to add more there. You're going to save a lot of room in the transfer portal as well. But, you should try to get maybe 18 to 20 guys in this class. We'll see. There's, some guys that they'll hold a spot for. One of those guys is right down the road at Powell High School. We talked with Eric Kane, and he said that he doesn't think that door is closed, but
that door is never going to be closed.
Right.
But
Tennessee also had some pretty big targets in that took a visit to Tennessee this past weekend. Marquise Gilbert, the JUCO safety out of Hutch Community College. Carnell Tate, the number 1 wide receiver in the 2023 class out of IMG Academy. And then you had Nico Iamaliva.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you
maybe
guess.
4-star 2023 quarterback out of California was in, and really enjoyed his visit. So we'll see. Hey, Loving getting these guys on campus, got them reel them
Right.
in. But when you look at somebody was like, oh, he's going to USC. Well, Malachi Nelson was Oklahoma commit, the 5-star number 2
Right.
player in the country. So he's probably he's decommitted from Oklahoma. So you would think that he's going to go stay in California and play for Lincoln Riley.
He
So I
didn't
don't know.
immediately flip it, which I thought was interesting.
Right. Yeah, a lot of those guys did that. Does some of those guys not end up going? They feel kind of betrayed.
Well, I think you definitely want to play for a coach, but I think there's something to that. Like you hear that. Well, they're only going for the coach. They're not only going there for the coach. They're going there for the coach and the program. If Nick Saban left, whoever you replace him with, you'd still have a lot of guys come there for also the program, but it would be relying on who that coach is. Same with Florida. You had guys coming there for Dan Mullen that would have probably came there if it was Jim McElwain or Muschamp. Yes, there is something to the coach thing, but it's not the only factor.
Right.
There's going to be guys who don't want to go and play at USC because of the state of the program, for example. So I don't think it's going to be all automatic flips.
And Nico is the number 16 player in the country, so he is a 5-star per 247 Sports, and the number 4 quarterback in that class. So, hey, I mean, look at Hendon Hooker's development from his time at Virginia Tech to this season. I mean, he plays those first 2 games. He's probably all SEC, which you're all SEC. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
Yeah, definitely have to. If you're looking for somewhere to go and be developed, you have to like what Tennessee did this year with their quarterback situation.
Yep.
So,
you think Joe Milton?
Anything else recruiting?
Do you think Joe Milton leaves?
He can't. You mentioned he has to go down. He can't.
So do you just stick it out? I mean, that just seems so weird to me. Like you're not going to be the starter. So
no, but you're one play away.
Sure.
You're one play away.
Not if Taven Jackson has anything to say about it.
Fair. Fair. I mean, that's the thing. If he just legitimately doesn't believe he could beat out Taven Jackson, I guess you do leave.
I mean, Tennessee has to they have to go get somebody in the transfer portal too, right?
I think you have to try. Yeah, I think you have to.
Because I mean, the way Joe Milton has played, I mean, you don't feel confident if your QB1 goes down.
No, I mean, yeah, you're talking about a guy who hadn't been able to play well on the field so far for you, or a true freshman. So definitely wouldn't like those 2 situations, for sure. For sure. Ready to talk some college football?
Yeah.
Last week, rivalry week, last regular week of the season. I loved it. It was weird. We said chaos. It was weird. Thursday night, Egg Bowl, 31-21. Mississippi State should have won that flat out. Like, how many touchdown opportunities did they drop? Just flat drop.
Yeah, that was bad.
And then they had a chance to win it as the game kind of closed to the end, and they just couldn't make plays.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see it. I would have loved to Nick Saban lose that game because all talked about 10 wins, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, props to Tennessee again for not losing to a team that didn't win 10 games this season.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that stat. Okay, cool.
Besides Florida. God dang it, Florida. That team should have won 10 games.
Yeah, they should have. Good Lord. I hate them with a burning passion.
I don't even care. That makes me sick too. Just thinking about how bad they were. Like we beat them by 3 touchdowns if we play them later on in the season.
I think I may agree with that. I may. I'm curious to see if they fall. Even this weird week of college football, like I could see them being out of the top 4 again. I could see it happen. They did beat East Carolina, convincingly, but we talked about this. You're not going to put them in. Just get them out now and be done with it.
I'm interested to see them play Houston because I think Houston is a really good team. Can they?
Doesn't think that. Whoa! Brian Kelly to LSU.
It's official?
Knows.
Oh, sources. I love that.
I mean, it's on the news. Like, this isn't Twitter.
I got you.
I just want to be clear.
I mean, does that not tell you how good of a job LSU is that Brian Kelly is literally could make the college football playoff and he's ready to leave?
I think that should also tell you how bad a situation the Notre Dame one is.
That who?
Like Notre Dame needs the Notre Dame situation. They've got to find a conference to compete in.
Right.
They have to give up this independent crap. I think them being sixth is you guys aren't playing by the rules. So sorry.
No, I agree with that. I mean, God.
They also lost to Cincinnati.
I mean, every time you get like a big name going somewhere, you have to replace them with somebody else. It's just a coaching carousel. That's what it is.
Josh Heupel to Notre Dame.
I think Butch Jones. He
would be a great one. That's a great call.
Yeah, he follows Brian Kelly everywhere. So I mean, this would be the perfect opportunity for him to, be right up his butt.
Great.
Like a Urban Meyer, finger up the butt. Where's he in all this? Does he come in?
He could be at Notre Dame.
John Gruden, Notre Dame. They love him.
There you go. Oh wow. Okay. So I want to talk about Iowa and Nebraska. Where does Scott Frost land after he is inevitably fired? You can't keep him after going 3-9. I know you. We talked about this. You restructure that buyout. You have to get rid of him. You have to.
Oh, the way they lost to who did they lose to? Iowa. The way that they lost up 24-6 or 21-6 and lost 28-21, you're fired.
Yeah.
I don't care. You're fired. That's just that's a terrible loss. And you lost me money, you freaking jackass. I mean, we've heard for so long he was a savior at that program, and like he hasn't won anything. Also, where does Shiana go?
Yeah, does Notre Dame hire Shiana? That's a good call.
I mean, we got to see his name. He's a fantastic coach, right?
How is he not
going to a bowl game?
My question. Are they?
No.
6-6?
No. They're not.
Dang. Hate to see it.
Yep. 5-7, I think.
Love to see it. That's crazy. I would not have that's not a good hire. I don't think. Whatever. That's good. That's good. Other Tennessee plays LSU next year. So count me in. Sign me up.
We're going, baby.
We'll be there. We will not be on a scissor lift. We would hate for Brian Kelly to kill us. So
God.
People forget that he killed a kid. So it needs to be known.
Oh my God.
It needs to be. We'll talk about
killed a guy.
I told you on Saturday, the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry is so much fun. I know we like to make fun of both those teams, but like their actual hatred for each other and the people that goes to those schools, it's awesome. It is phenomenal. And then me and you, I think we agreed that Michigan was not going to play with Ohio State, and they just put it on them. They put it on
Haskins. Put it on them.
Yeah. So credit to Michigan in that exciting rivalry game to go win that game. Michigan still has one more game to win, but also with that win may have pushed themselves into the college football playoff. In a year that people were talking about Jim Harbaugh should be fired before the season.
Yeah. I mean, that loss to Michigan State was bad. And then they come in and, you can have one mess up pretty much as the committee rules in the Power 5. You can have one mess up, but that's it.
Yeah.
That was their one mess up. And, they look like I think they play Iowa, which Iowa's one-dimensional. They're not, they have a pretty good defense, but it's not a Wisconsin defense.
Right. No. Agreed. But yeah, great credit. I mean, they put themselves in a position to win, to get into the college football playoff. We'll see. I'm kind of rooting for it. Like, again, just chaos. I think that makes it a little bit more chaotic. Like, Michigan losing would just be real disappointing at this point. I guess Michigan losing would be more chaotic, wouldn't it?
Right.
I need to root for them to lose. Okay.
Do you think Oklahoma? Do you think they were gonna like? I'm not saying that they greased up Eric Gray's arms.
Ooh.
But did they?
Yeah, because like, what is Lincoln Riley leaving if they're playing in the Big 12 championship?
Right. Yeah.
I like this conspiracy theory.
And there was also I saw something that they were talking about him recruiting out west so much this season.
He knew it.
Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. You know, he took how many of his staff members? Like 9, something insane. Did they all know this was happening? Because that's not good.
Oh yeah, they had to have some apartments and stuff set up.
Also, when did Oklahoma know? Because Bob Stoops said he wasn't going to be on the Big 12 network or whatever the rest of the season because of other responsibilities.
Yeah, that
also,
was like a couple days ago.
Why are they hiring Bob Stoops? Why are you hiring your old coach to be a guy who's not been around these kids at all to be your interim?
Fulmer's coming back.
All right, do it. Let's do it. Sign me up.
Somebody I would want around the program. I don't care if he has like just this big role, but I think David Cutcliffe would be awesome to have.
Yeah,
especially if you want to get in that Arch Manning sweepstakes.
I know. Hotty toddy is what he said. So
yeah, he was trying to get laid. Is what he was trying to do.
Yeah, right.
He was trying to get himself a hot toddy.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know how you could get Cutcliffe here. I don't know if Josh. I feel like you have to. I know Cutcliffe's got a reputation in college football, but I don't know how big a reputation. Like, how much would Danny White and Josh Heupel know about that? You know, I don't know how. I don't know if it's a well-kept secret, the history of him and the Mannings and other quarterbacks. I mean, for God's sakes, he got Daniel Jones drafted. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if, right. It'd be interesting to see if that was something you were able to do in an advisory analyst role that, like you said, get you in the. If David Cutcliffe was there, I'm not saying you get Arch Manning, but you get yourself a chance to get Arch Manning.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I'm cool with Nico too. I mean, if he wants to come all the way from Cali to the Valley, let's get him here.
Different kind of Valley, but yeah.
Tennessee Valley Authority.
Right. Alabama.
Well, let's not go back there. I forgot the TVA thing was our offensive line last year. They were abysmal.
And golly, they had the freaking floodgates open the whole season. Mike Bobo got fired today, so he's Auburn offense coordinator now. I didn't know he was Auburn. I think I did know that actually.
So he's coming here, right? I feel like we're always rumored to get Mike Bobo
as a head coach after Heupel goes to Oklahoma, Notre Dame,
right? Or
what job will open after Notre Dame? Arkansas State. Are we doing Butch to Rutgers?
I still like Butch to Notre Dame. I just think that's
perfect fit.
He'll probably be good at Notre Dame. I mean, let's be honest.
Right. Somehow, some way. We did call this one. Clemson just absolutely destroying. I mean, South Carolina.
Where is Roman Harper at?
They didn't stand a damn chance. Like, that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen.
And DJ only threw for 99 yards.
South Carolina's terrible. It's that simple. They're awful.
I bet they didn't get past they threw for 100. They barely had 200 yards total offense.
Yeah, that shows you how bad South Carolina is. They're terrible. God awful.
They had one reception for 30 yards. God, they're so bad.
Oh, we need to talk about the A&M LSU game. By the way, speaking of LSU hiring that, what the A&M? How are they so bad this year and won so many good games? I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get that either. Like, how are people like obsessed with A&M? What if they? Yeah, they beat Alabama, but that's kind of like Tennessee in 2016. You beat the team that you shouldn't beat, and then you go and just get destroyed by everybody else.
And they lost me money. They lost me a parlay. They're the only team. All I needed to do was win. Didn't even need to cover.
Tennessee would beat the brakes off A&M.
I wouldn't go that far, but I'll say it if you want me to. But I mean, it just makes me mad how bad they are.
We'll never know. So
but they're not. But they're also not bad. That's what makes me more mad.
Yeah, their defense is pretty good.
They're not bad.
But Zach Calzada, you're not going to win. I think I told you this. You're not going to win a national championship with Zach Calzada as your quarterback. You're just not.
Man, you're not going to win an SEC championship game.
No. And weren't they picked? A lot of people picked them to beat Alabama, and they shouldn't have. But they picked them to beat Alabama and finish ahead of them, and they're going to go to the SEC championship with Georgia.
Yeah.
And it was set up for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, not by that point. By that point, you already lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State.
Yeah, that's right.
So they needed Alabama to lose. Well, turns out they needed Alabama to lose 2 more times to go. But LSU's just not a good football team. You lost to them. We need to talk about Arkansas. I said it. Like Sam Pittman earlier in the year was the favorite, in my opinion, to win SEC Coach of the Year. Then it slowed up. But we're talking about a guy who beat all of his rivals, who all did have pretty good years, besides Missouri.
Yeah.
I mean, A&M's going to finish in the top 10 or top 15. No, they went at 8-4. No, they're not. I hate them. They beat Mississippi State, who's going to finish in the top 25. They did play Alabama to 7 points. I mean, I feel like his name's going to be thrown in that hat. I still think it's probably Kirby, but credit to Sam Pittman.
Yeah,
Arkansas
I think
4 solid.
I think Sam Pittman would probably be my second choice. But yeah, you got to be you're the number one team in the country. What they've scored, like people scored 83 points on them so far this season.
Yeah, they're good.
And I think somebody said if you double the amount of points, they'd still lead the nation in points per game, defensive points per game.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I hate it. They're good. He's good. Pisses me off.
Yeah. Man, I was going to say something else. Yeah, Beamer. So somebody asked me today, they're like, are we safe with Josh Heupel? And I think Richard asked, so is our coach staying at Tennessee? I think he is. I think if they're going to try to pluck somebody, I think Shane Beamer would get a call before Josh Heupel.
Wait, where at?
At Oklahoma.
You think they'd call Beamer before Heupel? Wow. Okay.
And I'm not talking about this year, but he did leave Oklahoma on good terms, I assume. And Josh Heupel really didn't leave on great terms.
Yeah, and okay, that's right. I forgot Shane Beamer was at Oklahoma before. He was the tight end coach and co-offensive coordinator, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that. And yeah, if Bob Stoops wasn't as involved, I might say Josh Heupel has a better chance, but he's still very involved. So that's not happening, in my opinion.
Right. No. Yeah, I think we're safe. And also Danny White, I just don't think Danny White would let that happen.
Yeah, but what I hate about it is, if he wants to leave, he comes in, hey, I want a better situation, blah, blah, blah. He's been here one season, he won 7 games. You go find another coach at this point if he wants to leave.
Yeah.
So if it is if the ball isn't Danny White's court, throw that thing out of bounds and you start the game over.
Yeah, I think Tennessee definitely has. It would definitely be a better situation for another coach to come in than when Josh Heupel took over.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think we're safe. It looks like they're going to.
We're safe from the Oklahoma job, and I don't think he has another dream job that I'm aware of.
Right.
So,
I mean, I think it is like the Tony Vitello thing. It's just like, they gave me this opportunity, and I'm liking what I'm building here.
Yeah. Well, it's been nice. Like Tennessee's almost. I mean, baseball. You're talking about Tony Vitello, literally building it from the ground up. Tennessee football is almost like been stripped to the studs.
Yeah.
It's not like you're building the whole thing, but like you do get to kind of do a lot of your own stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just been battered for so long. Yeah, that is the benefit of that. But
So Brian Kelly to LSU. I was thinking Dave Aranda would be the LSU guy. I think they loved him there. I know he's a defensive guy.
Baylor did say they were going to extend his contract when the season was over. They didn't done it yet. They announced they were going to.
Okay. Yeah, good on them.
Oh no, for sure. You want to keep that guy around, for sure. Any other college football news? I probably missed out on some. We talked about a lot there, especially in that coaching carousel. Anything I missed?
I mean, we were going to talk more about Lincoln Riley. I mean, he definitely is dodging the SEC. He wanted no part of the SEC. Because, again, like Oklahoma or USC isn't head and shoulders better job than Oklahoma. There's no way, especially now.
Yeah, no, and I think the irony in all this is you're talking about a guy that's probably going to end up parting ways with this team in the next 5 years. It's not, like I said, it's not the same situation unless he just comes out and just really. You're talking about the guy that walked into an Oklahoma job that they were in the college football playoff every year when he got the job.
Yeah,
it's not built. It's not building back at USC. He's not going to have sellouts. Like he's like getting guys in Southern California sounds easy, but when these guys that you're competing for, when they go to A&M and see a game in College Station, when they go to Alabama and see an Iron Bowl game, when they go to Ohio State and see a game at the Horseshoe, like they're not going to want to play at USC.
Yeah,
as it stands today, you're going to have to build a lot. Is he patient enough? Is USC patient enough? I just don't know if I trust that in today's landscape.
Yeah, especially when it's nothing for somebody to hop on a plane and go across the country anymore.
Yeah. No.
You see California kids aren't staying in California anymore. They want to go play in the SEC. That they know that's their best path to the NFL. No offense to the Pac-12, but it is what it is. So yeah, he's not going to keep everybody in state like he might think. He might land some of those guys, some of those LA kids, but you're already getting the number one quarterback in the country, and you still aren't any closer to winning a national championship than you were. So I mean, yeah, you'll get that number one quarterback recruit. They'll have a ton of yards. He might, win a couple more Heismans, but he's never going to win a national championship at USC. He's just not.
No,
it just means more here, man. It just means more.
I know never is a hard term to throw on it, so I'm not going to go as far as never. I'm just not convinced that either parties, that being Lincoln Riley and USC, are patient enough to get to that point.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I mean, it took Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is one of the best coaches of all time, and it took him, basically cheating his ass off to win one.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. And Lincoln Riley doesn't. That's another thing. People talk about what's good for that USC job, the kind of personality. And there's not always, one way to, there's not just like one way to get things done. I'm not saying that, but you've seen USC take several different approaches. It does seem the best for them is to have that Pete Carroll approach. He doesn't have that personality.
Yeah,
he doesn't have that. So whatever. I don't think it affects Tennessee. Thankfully, I know a lot of people started freaking out, but I didn't think the Oklahoma job would actually come about. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we're good until we're not.
Fair.
Oh, we didn't talk about Oklahoma State very much. Oklahoma State, did they get into the college football playoff if they went out?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to put them in there. I agree. I mean, how do you not? Like what?
They look like a really good team. I'd be honest, I haven't watched them up to this point, but I thought they looked pretty good against Oklahoma.
I mean, do they look? Yeah, I mean, they look like a really good team. They look just as competent as Alabama, look just as competent as Ohio State, as competent as Ole Miss, not Ole Miss, Michigan. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I like Spencer Sanders, their quarterback. Dude, I like him a lot. I know he had 2 interceptions, but he also had 93 yards on the ground. And their defense looks – I mean, it's not the same – I was watching this game, and my wife was like, which team do you want to win? I was like, well, I have money on Oklahoma, so I'd rather them win. And I also don't like Lincoln Riley, but I also don't like Gundy either.
Right.
So
I was glad to see Oklahoma go down. I think there's a lot of Oklahoma fans that think that there's a. So I think here's the thing, and I say this when teams are going, they're trying to hire. Everyone's trying to hire the next Nick Saban, and that's a recipe for disaster. There's not going to be another Nick Saban. I hate to say that. I wish I could just completely hate the guy, but he's on a different level. So Oklahoma with Lincoln Riley has been a really, really good football team, but they've not sniffed what Alabama's done, and they act like they're on this pedestal of that they are, and they're not. I mean, they're a really good football team in a mediocre conference, and that's about it. That's who they are. They're a really good football program. But I mean, you're even they're even a tier below Ohio State, who's won national championships of recent.
Yeah, 100%.
The best thing Oklahoma's done recently is beat Alabama in a non-championship bowl game. So, and it was fun. I loved it. But that's the best thing you've done recently.
Yeah.
So I was glad to see him lose. It's even funnier now that everything's happened. Lincoln Riley's darted for Southern California, and he's not even going to finish the season with his guys.
Yeah.
You know who didn't do that? Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin coached the bowl game. So
suck on that.
He's gonna have a top 5 recruiting class this year, probably somehow.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably not fair because he's stealing them all from Oklahoma. He's built those relationships on the basis of you're coming to Oklahoma, where we played in the college football playoff recently. So next year, it probably is going to be a little bit more difficult.
We get to go to LA. It's 2 blocks from Skid Row. Let's do it. LA is gross. Okay, no one wants to be in LA. It's gross.
I would love to be in LA. Personally.
Pasadena is nice. That's
I would hate
where UCLA plays. USC ass. And they have 2 naked guys outside of their stadium. It's weird.
Just 2 naked,
yeah, outside Memorial Stadium, there's 2 statues, and it's just peens out and everything. It's weird.
Is it Olympic statues? Or it was an Olympic stadium, right?
Yeah, I think it is, but it's still weird.
Okay.
I don't have to see a peen for it to mean the Olympics. I'll say one thing: the LA Galaxy Stadium looks dope.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
It's right next door. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know that was right next door. No. So wait. Oh, no, I was thinking wrong team.
You're thinking what?
I'm already thinking the wrong team. What stadium do they play in?
Who?
The Galaxy.
I don't know. The LA Galaxy. I don't know. Is there another LA team?
That's what I'm trying. I'm just trying to remember. That's the problem, is I can't remember that. So the LA Chargers, when they moved to LA and SoFi, is that what it's called, wasn't open yet. They played in a soccer stadium. So I'm trying to think if it was the Galaxy. Well, that's really dumb. Why didn't they just play in USC Stadium?
Yeah, this is it. It's the Dignity Health Sports Park.
And San Diego or LA Chargers played there before?
I'm not sure on that, but it is the one that's right next door to Memorial.
Yeah, so I just don't get why they didn't play at USC. Whatever. I mean, whatever. Your thing.
Well, that's where the Rams were at. The Rams are at USC, right?
Oh, was that why? Okay, so that may have been why. I don't know where they're at.
Dang, they
But I mean, they're
they
sharing
drew
a
the
stadium
short
now.
straw.
Yeah, I mean, well, they don't have fans, but they're sharing a stadium now. I guess it's different because there's also a college football team there too, and it's not turf; it's actual grass. So whatever. So they played at Dignity Health Sports Park for 2 years. I didn't realize that they wouldn't even sell that out.
Gross.
Yeah. No, it is a cool stadium though.
Yeah, I like
It honestly looks cool as a football stadium, but it's obviously not big enough to be an NFL stadium.
Right.
But it looked cool as a football stadium too. So
it's like super updated outside of it too. I mean, it just
really,
it looked really nice. I mean, it wasn't so-fi nice. I mean, that's the nicest stadium I've ever seen in my life.
are you in it? Or?
I got to go like right where I could see the field. So basically, and it's a dome, but it's open.
Really?
Yeah, so like it has the cover over it, but like you can just see inside of it.
Gotcha.
From the outside. Really cool. I mean, I'm sure some of that probably moves. I'm not sure the retractable roof and everything, but just it looked like from the future. It didn't look like a normal stadium.
Right. Do you have any most importance of the week? I think we got to hit pretty much everything in college football. So,
my first thing is Juwan Jennings just being a dog, babe.
2 touchdowns. Well, should have had 2 touchdowns this week.
Should have had 2. Did you see his press conference at the end? I mean, he was just all smiles.
Oh, yeah, he smiled the whole time. It was like why are you smiling? I just love smiling.
He freaking loves football.
Oh, negative on my phone. I'm gonna have to fix this. I've been real negative lately, I guess.
Have you?
It looks like it. I want a Retro Bowl again tonight, guys.
There you go. Also, Hassan Haskins rushing for 5 touchdowns against Ohio State in the Big House that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you see Tate Martell was at the game?
Yeah, what the hell?
Well, I guess UNLV had the week off. I don't know. Or he just wasn't playing. No clue. So I don't know which Roy Williams. Do what?
Is he like on that team?
I guess so. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know which Roy Williams it was, but he's verified on Twitter. And he had tweeted about Lincoln Riley in the middle of the night. Someone was like, says the guy who left KU in the middle of the night for UNC. He tweeted back Roy Williams, not the Roy Williams, and said, sure did, and I'll do it again with a gif of Roy dancing. It's not obviously the real Roy Williams. Like, this is awesome. It's a great way to use your name. Not sure which one it is, but fantastic.
That's kind of all I got for most important, I guess.
Me too. I do have a fail. We're going back to Oklahoma. Did you see that video of the Oklahoma guy slapping the phone out of the dude's hand that was videotaping Caleb Williams on the bench?
Yeah.
He's like, you don't have bench credentials. You don't have bench credentials. I'm like, dude, first off, what does that mean? Also, he's not in his face. Like, he was like 10 yards from him.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, and like, if you're upset about it and you want to do that, obviously what he did was very stupid. Just stand in front of him. Like, don't slap something. I don't know. I hate people. And they're like, well, let an athlete have time by himself, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he's on a field on national television. What does he expect?
Don't have bench credentials.
Doesn't have bench credentials. Doesn't have bench credentials. I'm sorry, I forgot.
That's kind of all I have for. Oh, Grant Williams. Only NBA player shooting 50, 40, and 90 this season is Grant Williams. That's it. 51.4% from the field, 43.1% from 3, and 90.5% from the free throw line. So, MVP?
Maybe. Maybe so. Interesting.
Fail.
I think that's all I've got. Is that OU guy?
Mine is Vita Vea. Did you see him lose a tooth in the middle of the play?
Is that he just kept going.
Yeah, props on him. I mean, I'm trying to read some of these comments. Yeah, come on.
Is the Manning cast on tonight?
I don't know. Lincoln Riley has 2 dogs named Boomer and Sooner, so that's going to be weird.
I did see that. He also apparently, Chad says that thing, apparently has 2 houses in, can't think of the name of the city right now.
L.A.?
No,
Or
apparently he had
Norman.
2 houses in Norman, yeah. So
There's 2 houses in Norman?
I guess so. Both over $1 million. So,
Dang.
yeah. And he's getting a $6 million home in LA.
He needs it, you know.
He deserves it.
Yeah. Crushed it. Next fail is UC Davis losing a bye game to Academy of Art University. It's a private for profit art school in San Francisco. They got beat 79-60.
This is basketball?
Yeah, this is basketball. Sorry.
Okay, fine. You said that. So I was like, surely. Okay. What?
Yeah.
So how did this game even get organized? If they're
I don't know. Like, I don't understand how this team has a team.
do we have another Bishop Foreman situation?
It could be, but they just beat UC Davis. So props to them. Somebody did tweet. I'm not going to take it, but they did say they got beat in the paint. I thought that was funny.
That was good. It took me a second. I won't lie. It took me a second. That's good. Yeah. What in the world? So, I mean, obviously, they're a university. Are they like brand new to athletics?
I guess.
Interesting. I wonder how many guys want to like actually go there for. Okay, hey, do your thing.
Yeah.
Never judging.
Then
That's the fails I had.
I got one more. Your boy Jimmy Himes, saying the actual attendance for Tennessee Vanderbilt game was about 50,000. Anyone who says about 70,000 is clueless.
Why couldn't he just leave it at that first part? That's my question.
Yeah, especially like Brian Rice said it like a little bit before that. So
Right.
I thought y'all were on the same team. Kind of weird.
Yeah, I think. How many people do you think would show up to a Brian Rice, Jimmy Himes card? 50,000 or 70,000?
I know Jeff Brom will be there for sure.
That's the best part. He's like, you're clueless. I'm like, Jimmy, you're clueless, bud. You can't read a room at all.
Yeah.
Like, you got to know when you tweet that.
Also, like, I was there. I think it might not have been 70, but it was more than 50.
I'd say right cushion in the middle. Not 60.
Yeah. 60, 65 is probably what I was thinking.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's an idiot. But we knew that. And
yeah. Come on, buddy.
I just wish
be
people
better.
I wish businesses would quit sponsoring his dumbass. Like, just be done with it.
Just sponsor us.
Please. But yeah, no, I wasn't an idiot. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Good fail. I'm glad you said that. I'd forgotten about that.
That's all I got.
That's it for me too. Guys, I know we came at you on a weird night, but thanks for doing it. We'll be back on Thursday recapping Tennessee win over Presbyterian. And then by the time we see you next, after that, we'll know our bowl game, won't we? Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get it. It's going to be fun. Tune in. Yeah, we'll be talking some basketball here soon. But it's been nice just having an entire football show.
Right.
I like crossing paths.
It's going to be nice to get basketball in here, too. Can't wait.
Yeah. That's all we got. If you got any questions, we'll be back on Thursday, so get those to us. We'll be happy to cover those for you. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.